Okay, so 2019 was a super productive year for me. Even though I didn't have even half as many projects as I did in 2018, it was still productive because I was focusing on other things. Hi everyone, my name is Natalie, also known as Nitty Natty. Welcome to a very special bonus episode. This is the 2019 year in review. Now, as you can see, I'm in a different spot than I usually am for my podcast. I'm actually in my bedroom right now. I thought it'd be really fun to have this Christmas tree in the background. Although I might soon regret it because I can hear people outside like blowing leaves. Like, what are you guys doing? It's Sunday. Go home. But it is Sunday. It is December 29th, which means we are nearing the end of 2019. So it's the perfect time to look back on the year. I'm going to go through some of the projects that I made using Ravelry. I'm going to tell you about my favorite projects, my favorite designs, and some of the things that I did this year on YouTube. So it's going to be a really fun episode, I think. I'm kind of getting used to being in this new spot. This is just for this one episode, so enjoy. Also, as you can tell, I have a little bit of a cold, but this is when I want to do this because if I don't do it today, my family is literally driving from Tennessee to Texas right now, and they're going to be here in like 4 hours. So if I don't do it today, then I won't be able to do it until after January 1st, and there's so many other things that I want to be doing once January hits. So this is the time you get the realness of everything. So, okay, let me make sure I've got my notebook here. I've also got my computer behind me. I'm drinking some tea, although I think I did it too hot because when I put the lemon juice in there, it got all funny and stuff. But I'm drinking some apple cinnamon chai tea with a little bit of lemon juice. I also would have done honey, except the 3 different things of honey we had were all like, I don't know what it's called when it gets all like hardened up, so I couldn't use them. So honey is on the grocery list for today because I need some honey to help with my throat. But let's get started. I am going to make my voice sound as normal as possible, so here we go. Okay, so first I'm just going to do an overview of the year, what I knitted and crocheted in numbers. So the way that I did this is I went to Ravelry. I keep track of most of my projects in Ravelry. All of my personal projects I keep on there, but my designs are different. I don't always keep like the first part of the design on there. So that's a little different this year than in 2018. Oh, by the way, if you want to see 2018's year in review, I will make sure to link it so that you can go and watch that one too. It's kind of fun to watch the years side by side and see how things are the same and how things are different from year to year. I definitely watched that one over before while preparing for this one so that I could give you guys a comparison and also kind of give you a similar format. So it was a lot of fun to do that. Okay, so I went on Ravelry, and if you keep track of your projects on Ravelry, you can also do this. There is a filter at the top of your project page where you can just filter things finished in a certain year. So I went to things finished in 2019, and then I counted the rows. I think I've got 5 in a row. So counted the rows, counted up the projects, and that gave me a grand total of 34 completed projects in 2019. Now, there's still a couple days left, and I might finish one more project. I'll show that at the very end, but not very many days left, so we will see. I did 13 pairs of socks, 8 shawls, 2 sweaters, 1 Christmas stocking, 2 hats, 1 blanket, 2 cowls, 1 was a scarf, so cowls/scarves, 5 other like cozies and bags, and 24 granny squares. So that's my breakdown of 2019. And 27 of those projects were knit projects, and only 7 were crochet, which I'm not counting the grannies because they're not technically finished because they're a blanket. So there's a little more crochet in there than it seems, but I'm hoping to rectify that in 2020 for sure. Now, as a comparison to 2018, I did not make nearly as many projects. Actually, I made half as many projects as I did in 2018. And as we go on through the video, I'll kind of talk about why that probably is the case. But just a quick review, and again, you can go watch the 2018 video if you would like. But in 2018, I actually completed 70 projects. That's 2 times as many as I did this year. 18 socks as opposed to 13 pairs of socks this year. 9 shawls compared to 8 shawls, which is pretty comparable. 5 sweaters compared to 2 sweaters. And then I stopped tracking the other stuff. But man, I made a lot more projects. More projects? A greater number? I don't know how to say that properly. But more in 2018 was a more project productive year for me. But again, I'm going to get back to why this year was a little different than 2018 as I go on. In 2018, 45 projects were knit and 25 were crochet. So I did a lot more crochet projects in 2018 than I did in 2019. And again, I'm hoping to set some goals for 2020 in which I will definitely change that. Okay, so I want to go through some of my favorite projects from 2019. I'm not going to go through all of them, but basically I'm just going to take my very favorite one from each category to show you. So the first thing is socks. So I made 13 pairs of socks this year. I always have socks on the go, and I really, really love making socks. But my favorite pair of socks that I made this year are these right here, and they are dirty. Like, I was literally wearing them yesterday. I just had to pull a hair off of them. I love these socks so much. These are Lolo Did It, and this color is Polyjuice Potion. I don't know what the green is, but I think that's one of the reasons I like them. Ew. Like I said, I was wearing these yesterday to a Stars game, so I love them. So I think I like them because of the fun pops of color, but what I really like is this length. This is the perfect length for me because I get really hot, but also for if you live in like a warmer climate, like our winter here is maybe 50 degrees, and that just doesn't warrant a tall sock for me. So these I can wear with tennis shoes, and they're just long enough that they're not going to be getting pulled down, but I can also wear them in boots and they won't slide down either. So this is a Fish Lips Kiss heel and 20 rounds of stockinette. And then this doesn't look like quite 20 rounds, but I didn't count. It might be 20 rounds of stockinette and 20 rounds of ribbing, but I'll make sure to link my Ravelry project page below so that you can go find these socks and see exactly what I did, if not the project itself, but hey, no promises there. But yeah, Lolo Did It yarn, just a basic sock base. My favorite Fish Lips Kiss heel. What I observed about making socks in 2019 is that I only made 1 pair of patterned socks. All the rest of the socks were plain. Okay, that's not true. I made 2 patterned socks, one from somebody else's design and one of my own design. Okay, and one that I ripped out. So I really was going for simple and easy. Okay, hold on. I need a cough so I can clear my throat. I'm gonna cut this part out. Okay, back and better than ever. So yeah, so socks for me this year, I think were a lot about simplicity. They're my on-the-go project. I typically always have one going. I tried to make one every single month, and my favorite pair, I think, really, really shows that. Okay, shawls. I love making shawls. As much as I want to be a sweater and garment knitter, I think that shawls are just too much fun. You can do so many crazy patterns, you can do crazy colors because they're an accessory, whereas for sweaters, I tend to wear more of my neutral knits than my really fun colors. So my favorite shawl this year, I haven't even gotten to wear because I still haven't taken finished object photos of it because it's so massive, I cannot do it by myself and I need the help of somebody else. But this, I'm gonna have to set my notebook down. My favorite shawl that I made this year is my Stephen West mystery knit along. It's called Starflake, and it was a mystery knit along in October. Let me see if I can back up here. Here we go. So that you can see part of it at a time. It was, he does a mystery knit along every fall, I believe always in October, and this was it. It is a huge shawl. A very interesting and unique shape and of course construction. There was brioche knitting in it, but there was also the option not to do the brioche, and he had a garter stitch version. So if you're afraid of brioche, don't be intimidated. You can still do the Stephen West Mystery Knit-alongs. I used 2 yarns here. Well, 1 yarn, but 2 colors. I know it's Madeline Tosh. I believe it's Twist Light. And the colors I will have to look up and show you because I could look at my computer real fast. Actually, I will because I can see it right here. So let's see what colors I used. Now the thing about this mystery shawl is that you didn't know what it was gonna look like, and so the directions were just to get yarn that was like a contrast. Okay, so, oh yes, the pink is called, or the pinky peachy light is As Ever, and this charcoaly dark one is called Dirty Panther. So again, I haven't even really gotten to wear this much, because I haven't taken finished object photos of it. So I really need to do that soon so I can wear it, since now it's actually winter here in Texas, and I can actually wear it. So that's definitely my favorite shawl. It was fun to make, even though I did complain a lot about it because it was taking me forever. And I also know that it will be really, really great to wear. I think I'll probably end up taking it to school a lot, and when I get cold in my classroom, I can just put it on. So love that. That's my favorite shawl out of all 8 of them. That's my favorite one of 2019. Let me grab my notes. Okay, as far as sweaters go, let me make sure I'm following this here. Yes, sweaters, that was a super easy one since I only made 2 sweaters. The first sweater that I made was crochet. It didn't go very well. I ended up remaking it. I'm still thinking about completely taking it out and repurposing the yarn into something that I'm going to wear. So yeah, that's definitely not my favorite one. So it was no question that my favorite sweater would be my Like a Cloud. I just finished this in December and I have already worn it so much. I've worn it so much that I have pills on it already. Like pills everywhere. I've been picking them off. Now this is a mohair held together with a lace weight yarn, so it's definitely gonna pill, especially at spots like under the arms where it's like rubbing against the sweater. So I'm not upset about that in any way. I'm just happy that I have a nice, neutral, warm, comfortable sweater that I can wear that I actually finished. Yay! Man, I wish I was a garment knitter, but I'm just not. All right, let me get this on real quick for you guys. This is a really easy construction. There we go. It's an easy construction. So it's pretty simple to make. I would say it's good for beginners. Okay, there we go. I would definitely say it's good for beginners. And it's supposed to be really oversized, except that I thought I wasn't gonna have enough yarn, so I picked a size that was smaller than I should have been making. It still fits. It's not meant to close or anything, but it probably is meant to come like more across, but it doesn't bother me. I just wear it just like this. My sleeves, after I blocked it, got just a little bit too long, so I have kind of been folding them up. Now, if I made the sweater again, what I would do is I would definitely do more decreases in the sleeve, because you can see that this is pretty big. I did make some modifications in the sleeves, but what I didn't change is the final stitch count. So I would change that this time so I could have like less in the sleeves. Also, I only knit the sleeves to like maybe right here, and then you can see how much they stretched out. So a little bit less on the sleeves. And then of course I would make a bigger size. So I have a little more wrap. But other than that, I really, really love this sweater. It's so cozy and soft. Oh, and I'm wearing my McKinney Knittery t-shirt. This is my favorite one. I just got a new light gray one that says Love and Knit, but it's in the dryer right now because we just got home from a trip just a couple days ago actually. But I'm doing laundry today, so I wanted to wear that one, but can't because it is in the dryer. But favorite sweater of 2019 right here. I'm hoping I can make at least 2, if not more, in 2020. Okay, moving on to Cowls and scarves. So I only made one cowl and one scarf, so not a lot to choose from there. But my favorite this year is this one, and this is actually one of my own designs. This is Lussuoso, and Lussuoso means either luxury or luxurious in Italian. I can't remember which form of the word it is, but this was inspired by one of my friends on Instagram, Ashley. She had a scarf her mom brought back from Italy, and it had what kind of looked like floating stitches, like you can see here. And so I played with, how to design that, and this is an infinity loop. This pattern comes in a couple different versions. You can make the long loop like I have here, or a shorter and wider loop for a cowl. But yeah, it's got mohair and then a thick, like Aran single ply. I think I used Malabrigo maybe? I'll have to look it up. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to figure out and design, and it's also a pretty simple pattern. So let's see if I can put it on. If I bump the microphone a lot, then I can just silence it out. So here we go. Okay, so hopefully that wasn't too bad, but it's just light and fluffy. It just takes one skein of both yarns, not even that much of the mohair, and it's one of my favorites. I wear it all the time. I honestly should have made some for like gifts and stuff this year for Christmas, because I think it's something that has a lot of appeal even for people who are not knitters. It kind of just looks like something that you might find at Target or something. So I really, really love that. So that's Lussuoso, my favorite scarf of the year. Definitely my most worn. Okay, and then I'm just gonna do one more favorite project, because the other things that I have are like super random. I have like one hat, and what did I do? One hat, like some cozies, a stocking, a blanket, and some of those things aren't even with me anymore because they were, the blanket was a donation or a gift, or things like that. So my favorite other thing of the year is a bag, and it is also one of my designs. And what's funny, I was watching the 2018 video today, and another version of this bag was my favorite other of 2018, and that's the Float Tote original. This one is the Float Tote mini. So this is the 2-skein mini. It's an oval size, and I have been using this a lot lately. It's really good for 2-skein projects, which is what I'm holding in here right now, is a 2-skein project. Or you can have 2 1-skein projects, or one project that has multiple skeins of yarn, but it's just really great to keep your project organized. So I've got my little shawl, my baby shawl in there, and my hook, and then the 2 yarns are in the little buckets. So that's my Float Tote. I really love it. It is one of the most functional pieces I think that I have made, and use it all the time. So it's perfect because you can just set it on the table or set it on a chair, fold this down, and your yarn is easy and ready to go. So that's definitely my favorite other project of 2019. So I think that's it for all my favorites, because with only 35 projects, or 34 finished objects, that's not really a lot to choose from. But what I'm going to go into next is kind of talking about why 2019 was not as productive for me in the project sense, and just kind of like how it was still a productive year. So that if you're also kind of reflecting on your year and you're like, oh, I didn't make nearly as much as I did the year before, maybe look at other parts of your life and you can say, hey, this is why I wasn't as productive in making so many projects, because this year I focused on something else. Okay, so 2019 was a super productive year for me. Even though I didn't have even half as many projects as I did in 2018, it was still productive because I was focusing on other things. 2 other things, really. I was really designing in 2019. I started designing in 2018, but only mid-year. And then in 2019, I was designing the entire year. So I'm going to talk a little bit about designs, But then the other thing that I started in 2019 was my YouTube channel. And when I looked back on all the content that I created this year, I could not help but feeling very just proud, for lack of another word, of how much I was able to put out on YouTube this year. It's been so much fun for me. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun. But there were still like times where I was sacrificing other things in order to create a video or edit a video. Sometimes staying up late or, you have to rearrange your life. You can't just keep adding and adding on. And so it was really good to see kind of like the fruit of that in the math, if you will. So that is what I'm going to share next. And that is the reason why I had fewer projects in 2019. So if you're looking back at your year and comparing it to 2018, whether it's knitting and crochet or something else, and you're like, oh, I didn't get nearly as much of X done as I wanted to, maybe look at the whole picture. What were you doing instead? Were you having to deal with something very difficult? Were you putting effort towards something else? Maybe that wasn't your focus this year for a good reason. And pat yourself on the back for those things that you were able to accomplish. So, designs in 2019. Gosh, sorry for all the drinking water, and I'm cutting it all out, but I'm doing a lot of coughing, which is really awesome. Okay, we will make it through. So in 2019, I put out 8 designs: 1 sock, 1 hat, 1 bag, 1 scarf, 3 shawls, and 1 cozy. So 8 designs, which is pretty good. I am pleased with that. Of course, I have goals going forward in 2020, but overall it was a really good year for me. Now, my favorite design was my playtime shawl. I don't have it with me. I have one in progress, which I will show at the very end when I talk about some of the whips that I have going into 2020. But I will put a picture in of the playtime shawl. That is my favorite design of this year. It was so much fun to work with, Shauna of Farm Girl Fibers. It was a joy to work with that yarn. I love that shawl. It seems like you guys really love that shawl. And overall, it was just a really good one for me. Now, I did wonder, what really is y'all's favorite of my designs from this year? Sorry, now I have an eye twitch. I think I might be falling apart. Okay, I'm back. Better, maybe. Okay, so I wondered what was your favorite design in 2019. And so there's a couple different ways I thought I could look for that. I was definitely going to Ravelry because even though I do sell on Etsy now, Ravelry is still the main place where I'm sending people to buy my patterns, just because it's familiar and tried and true for me. So I thought, well, should I look at sales or should I look at projects? And what I ended up doing is looking at favorites. So the pattern of mine from 2019 that had the most favorites was Springtime in Suburbia. I also don't have that one with me. It is with Diane of Suburban Stitcher because we collaborated in order to make that pattern. And so it was for Fiberfest, DFW Fiberfest in April of this year. And then it toured with Diane all over the country and got to travel to many places that I have never been to, which is cool. And so that is still with her, although it might be making its way back to me soon. I'm not sure, but that's okay. Even if it's not, it's really fun to when you get to work with yarn dyers, because then who expands and spreads. And so it's been really cool that that's been able to travel around with her. So that's your favorite pattern of 2019 is Springtime in Suburbia. So mine is Playtime Shawl, y'all's is Springtime in Suburbia, based on favorites on Ravelry. Both of those are crocheted shawls. So I'm kind of thinking for 2020, maybe I need to do some more crochet, right? Maybe some more crocheted shawls. Who knows? We'll see. I don't have anything, no promises. I don't have anything going yet, but I think that's something that is really satisfying and will go along with some of my other goals. So stay tuned on that. Okay, so I was designing this year, which is why my project total is down. But I was also doing something else that I think was actually taking up the most time. So the most time that I'm not spending like working, taking care of my house, I don't know, doing the things that we do with our day, was making content for YouTube. I love making videos. I made a ton of videos this year. I started my podcast, Love in Stitches. I made a bunch of tutorials, which I also enjoy doing. I made a couple of one-off videos, and I also did Vlogmas for 2019, which was recording a video every day from December 1st to December 25th. And so that was a lot of content put onto YouTube. And it was a lot of fun to do. So overall this year, I put 100 and, okay, this total might not be totally right because I did the math a couple times and never got it to totally add up. So if it doesn't actually add up, just, you don't have to tell me, it's okay. I know. But I think that I made a total of 125 videos this year, which is like, whoa. When I counted that up, I was floored. Like, I was shocked. I knew it was going to be a lot because I did a podcast nearly every week, but when I counted up the tutorials and everything else, I was just blown away. So that breaks down to 45 podcasts, 44 tutorials, 4 love letters, which is my when I put out a pattern. Well, I started doing this in the summer. When I put out a pattern, I put out a love letter, 2 Sock Week videos, 5 bonus episodes, and 25 Vlogmas videos for 2019. So that is crazy. I don't really have a goal to make more than that next year, but just to keep up with that kind of consistency would be really amazing. So that is my year in review of everything I think knitting and crochet related that I put out there. And if it had been different, I would still say I'm satisfied because what is done, and that's it. I have, of course, goals, and that's what I'm going to share with you next. But I'm happy with where I'm at. I couldn't be upset with myself for something like knitting and crochet, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So if you are feeling down about your goals, I know sometimes going into the new year, we're like hyped up for new goals, but we also can be down on ourselves for what we didn't do. Don't think about that. Think about what you did do, and let's hit 2020 hard. Okay, so with that, I'm going to talk about my goals from 2019. These come straight from the 2018 video. I watched them and I laughed a little bit because the thing about goals is they're really, really great. I think goals are amazing and motivating, but goals need to be able to change, because if you can't change your goals, then you can't let yourself grow and expand. I always think about it like a path. Like, I have a goal and I start going down the path, and as I'm going down the path, more options come up that I didn't even know were going to be there. So how can I say I'm not going to choose option Z because I already chose A, so I'm going A? No, you have to be flexible, and as your year goes on, goals change and flex and you reevaluate. So I laughed a little bit at myself for some of the goals that I made, these arbitrary knitting goals, but some of them I actually did do, and I'm going to carry with me into 2020. So one more water break, and without further ado then, we will go on into goals. Okay, so my 2019 goals, these are from the end of the year of 2018, were 4 things. One was to knit 6 sweaters. Well, I already told you that didn't happen. I made 2 sweaters in 2019. Oh well, I still would like to make more sweaters in 2020, but I'm not putting a number on it. So yeah, I just know that that's not going to work for me. My second goal was to make a pair of socks every month. So that I definitely did complete. Maybe not the end one every month, but I did make 13 pairs of socks this year. So that's at least one for every month. So there you go. One goal, check. My third goal from 2018 to do in 2019 was to design a sweater. Now that I did not do. I did not even start on it. I don't know if I'm a sweater designer. We'll see, maybe one day. But that's a goal that's kind of gone. Like, I don't feel that desire right now. I think there's other things that I'm better suited for. So stay tuned. It could happen. Who knows? And my final goal, my fourth goal, was to, and this one surprised me. I didn't realize I had set this as a goal. So I'm actually really happy and pleased to say that I met it. It was to host a sock knit along. And I did do that, and it was so much fun. We had the Sock Week knit along in July, at the end of July of last year. And Sock Week is coming back in 2020. So that was definitely something that was a goal, a success, and will continue on. So I was really pleased to hear that. So out of 4 goals, I hit 2 of them for 2019. Again, things change. It's just knitting. So totally happy with that. But I do have some 2020 goals, and they're not SMART goals. We always talk about that in teacher training. SMART goals are like specific, and what's the M? I know the S is specific. I know one of them is like time, like a time. Oh, I don't know. But basically you make them very specific so that you can meet them. These are not SMART goals. These are flexible goals. And that's what I'm rolling with for knitting stuff, because hey, it's just life. It's just knitting. So my 2020 goals are as follows. Make more sweaters. More. That's it. What is more? Is more than 2? No. More is just more. Make more sweaters. I would like to do that. Also, make more hats. I knit 1 hat. Like, that's it. Like, when you think of people who knit, you're like, oh, they're making scarves and hats. I made 1 hat. So more hats this year, more sweaters. Also, more crochet. More sweaters, more hats, and more crochet. I love crocheting. I feel like I always need a crochet project going, but I don't always do that, so more crochet. Okay, my other goals are to minimize my stash. That one I have more specific stuff in my mind. It's not exactly like a hard and fast limit of purchasing or a hard and fast limit of getting rid of things or only knitting from stash. The way that I'm like feeling right now is that I don't really want to buy things that I'm not going to use immediately, but I'm not restricted to that. Does that make sense? So it's just a feeling that I have in my life in general, is to minimize items, and so stash is part of it. So minimize stash with I have some other things in the back of my mind that I maybe will share later, but that's something that I want to do. I don't want to have so many things there. It's a little overwhelming. So minimize it, and as the year goes on, I'll explore more what that looks like. 2 more goals. One, I want to gift knit. I was a little bit proud in a bad way of myself for not gift knitting this Christmas. I made a pair of socks for my sister and a hat for my sister. And then I made socks for my mother-in-law for her birthday in December. And then I made some cozies for somebody. Koozies? I don't know, cozies, whatever they are. But that's it. And it was just kind of, when it came to Christmas this year, I felt a little like I hadn't really given special gifts. And I don't know if that has to be hand knit or handmade, but I just felt like I want to make more gift knits this year, and I did a really good job of that in 2018. I didn't give everybody a knit gift, but those who use the knit gifts, like my mom and my sister and my mother-in-law, I made sure that throughout the year I was making things for them, or making one, like a pair of socks for them, so that by the time it got to Christmas, I had everything ready. So I think that I would like to do that, repeat that 2018 me in 2020 and make some more gift knits this year, because it really is like a very good feeling when you can give somebody something handmade and they love it. And then my last goal is a design goal, and this one is to design completely. And what I learned in 2019 is that I would rush ahead of myself. I would give myself some deadlines for things when I wasn't done yet. Instead of finishing the design, finishing whether it was writing it or knitting it, and then moving to the next step in the process, I would go ahead and set a deadline. Like, I want it to release at this date, so I need to make sure to call testers even though I'm not done. So I have to finish it. And I put a lot of pressure on myself to do that. And so I learned that for me to be better to me and also to make better designs, I need to change that process a little bit. So I want to be designed more completely. Maybe that's not the right word, but have things like go a little slower in that process. So what that might look like is I might not have anything come out for a while, but I will be working on stuff so that maybe I'm planning for a few months, nothing is coming out because I'm getting things ready for the next few months so that those can go smoothly. So again, I don't know exactly how that's going to look. Once my family leaves, not that I want them to leave because they're not even here yet, but after they leave in those couple of days I have before I go back to work, I am going to be sort of intensely planning out the year and how I can make those visions happen for design, content, and all of that. Because I don't want to stop producing things in 2020. I want to keep it up and make it better and make it greater. So I'm really, really excited to do that. Okay, I have just one more little thing to talk about before wrapping up this year in review. And those are my whips that are going to carry over into 2020. So a couple years ago, I started to kind of define project life by months and years. So at the end of the month, I really like to finish out my pair of socks. If I have a long-term project, I want it to be I want to finish it by the end of a month. So if it's not going to be finished by the end of this month, the next month is the goal, and so on, because I do make a lot of larger projects. So month goals are definitely something that are always in the back of my mind. But at the end of the year, having a clean slate and doing some casting on New Year's Day is the best feeling ever. So since I didn't do a lot of gift knitting, my new knitting year really does start on January 1st and not December 26th. So I just have a couple whips that are going to go with me into 2020. Now, my scrappy blankets, if you want to see them, I talked about them in the 2018 year in review. None of them are done, not even close, and those don't really count. So I've got 3. I have my Scrappy Granny, my Scrappy Granny Stripes, so 2 crochet ones, and then a Cozy Memories, which I don't even know if I've knit a square on this year. Oh well. Those don't count, but those are 3 whips that you'll find at the very bottom of my Ravelry project page. But there are 2 that will likely go with me into 2020 that are current projects, and that's it. That really, literally is it. Okay, 1 design that I haven't shown at all. So that one, it's going to be working in the background. So it's there. But 2 whips. Now, one of them is a pair of socks, and I'm going to show you right now because I think that I will get these socks done before January 1st. Maybe. So my Christmas socks I'm still not quite done with, but I am very close. So my Christmas socks that I'm making out of a sock blank that I dyed with Kool-Aid and sprinkles. The foot and heel are completely done. I'm working on the leg. I've got about, 15 rounds of stockinette left to go, and then 20 rounds of ribbing, and then that sock is done. So it's the 29th, so I've got the 30th and the 31st to finish it. So I might finish it before January 1st or on January 1st. Either way, these will be done very, very soon, and then they will be blocked and put away for next Christmas because they're Christmas socks. And then the only other thing is here in that Float Tote Mini is my two-tone Playtime shawl. So Playtime shawl was my favorite design of this year. I am making one right now in 2 colors instead of the original one color just to see, and it is a lot of fun. I've been working on it for a long time. Like it's been a whip for a long time, but I haven't really put that much work into it because I haven't been in the right spaces to do it. Like I've just been kneading on the Go Knitting and Simple Knitting and In the Dark Knitting, and this is not it. So here is my two-tone playtime shawl. I've only done just one crisscross section, so many more to go, but it is looking pretty cool. You can see I'm adding in the second textured section stripe. So after I finish this one up, I'm hoping to update the playtime shawl on Ravelry and send out a new version. If you want to make a two-tone playtime shawl yourself, you will be able to do that. So this is definitely not going to be finished in the next 2 days. The socks maybe, but this will be coming in and might be the first finish of 2020. So just 2 projects going into the new year. I feel really good about that. I haven't really given much thought to what I'm going to start next. Hopefully a sweater, maybe something short sleeve because that's the most practical for here in Texas. Maybe something simple. I've got plenty of yarn in stash, so for sweaters I can make whatever, and I probably have it. So that might be something that I start next. I don't know. The opportunity, the possibility is exciting for sure. Okay guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching my 2019 year in review. And again, if you want to go watch 2018, make sure you look for the link down in the description box. It's fun again to watch that and then watch this year and see how things are similar. Like I have the same gold nails, which is so funny. How I also have a cold in 2018. And it also was December 29th, which is unbelievable to me. That's so funny. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a very happy new year and a very good 2020. And I will see you guys again very soon. Bye.